Good day and welcome to TFI. I've been slacking on the questions that have been coming into the channel recently, over quite some time. I'm just so busy, I cannot respond to everybody or even single people out and start writing back detailed answers. So I'm trying to collate a couple of questions, 10 or 11 at best, to avoid this being like a half an hour, 45-minute long video. And I'll just see how far we'll get with these. This is going to be unedited, I think, depending on how it goes. I've just copied and pasted a couple of the questions. I'm just going to bang through them as fast as I can. Right, question one is, before I get to the questions, AMD Ryzen. Whoa, holy shit, who saw that coming? AMD Ryzen. I've got an AMD Ryzen chip on order. I've got the 1700 on order, and I did that intentionally. So we've got three variants of Ryzen at the moment. We've got the 1700, 1700X, and the 1800X. The 1800X on paper does seem to be the better choice for 3D CAD, especially for an Autodesk Inventor, just because of the higher clock speed. But I don't think that's going to be the price point most people are going to be going in at. So I've intentionally chosen the 1700 based on its price point. So that'll be coming next week, hopefully. So I should have a build on that soon. Just let us know what you think of that. What you think of Ryzen, whether or not it's something you're going to be interested in. So that is on its way. Read question one. It comes in from Huns. Hi. Have you done videos about CAD mice, trackballs, equipment, or something that makes workflow faster? I've done a couple of videos on the 3D Connection Space Mouse Enterprise, which is, I'm sure you can see that in the background. And I've done like a use case kind of video on it, how to use it, workflow type of deal. But I've not done as much as I should probably have done on peripherals, CAD peripherals like 3D mice. So there's more work I could do there. Yes, indeed. But beyond that, I mean, a 3D mouse there's not a lot you can do with them to make yourself super better at CAD. It's mostly a convenience thing. Yes, the 3D knob thing makes the model turn faster, and that saves you a hell of a lot of time having to press F4 or Alt or Shift or whatever to do an orbit. So that passively helps you massively. But the shortcut buttons, they are what you make of them. You bind them to whichever commands you want to bind them to. There's no secret formula for binding commands on a 3D mouse to make something better than anyone else can do it. You know what I mean? So you bind them to suit your use case. Question two comes in from Eric Carlson. Hello, sir. Good day, sir. Hello, sir. Quick question. My new 3D Connection Space Mouse Wireless just arrived. I was wondering if you'd recommend me making any rebinds for the controls. Have you found any setting that worked better than the default? Shit. I've just kind of answered that one. I did copy and paste these ages ago. I was meant to film this ages ago. Yeah. Well, like I've just said, mate, there isn't really any recommendations for bindings. You bind to the 3D mouse buttons the commands that you use more than others. And the commands that I use or that the guy next door uses would be completely different to what you use, depending on which modules you go with and which areas of the product you focus on more than the others. So there's no real right or wrong way for the bindings. But one thing that is guaranteed is that the bindings that come with the 3D mouse out the box aren't necessarily going to be of any great benefit to you. So you have to customize them either way, but you have to think about what you use more than anything else. Okay, question three comes in from Adam Engelbrecht. Hey, I have created my initial frame with the frame generator without issue. So this is a frame generator question. However, after adding some sheet metal parts to the assembly, the option to edit the frames or the skeleton is no longer available. I need to add two more frame members, but the insert frame button in the design ribbon stays grayed out. Right, well, that's normally because you're in the wrong context. Normally, you need to be in the frame subassembly. So if you've got an assembly with a subassembly with, then you generate frames in, it creates another frame subassembly underneath that subassembly. So you've got multiple tiers of assemblies, and you need to be editing the subassembly, which contains the design accelerator, frame generator components in. Sometimes if you dive down into part level, then that's when the buttons start becoming grayed out and ribbon bars start vanishing. So normally that's the case. It could be many other things. It could be things like, if you're using Vault, it's not checked out, that kind of. So there's all kinds of different questions. What I will say though, just in case, I mean, it says 1 week ago on the question, but it's long ago, long before that. if anyone does have any time-sensitive questions like that, where you're trying to work on something and it just doesn't work, and you need to work on it, which is exactly what you need. You needed an answer to this pretty much straight away. Don't put it on the YouTube comments, mate. Go to the Autodesk forums and log your question on the Autodesk forums, and someone's going to get around to it much quicker than I can by scavenging through my YouTube comments, which, especially the messaging system. I don't think Adam used the messaging system, but I have checked my messages, and there are time-sensitive questions in there. Just don't do that. Don't ask me time-sensitive questions, because I'm never going to see them in time. And even if I do, I can't answer everybody. So it's not the best place to do it. Go to the Autodesk forums for any time-sensitive support-type questions. Right, question 4 is Ansong Nguyen. Wow, do you think the GTX 1060 is good for 3D? Well, that would depend on what I'm assuming you're on an Inventor channel, so you're talking about Autodesk Inventor. Take a look back at a couple of videos ago that I've done. It actually might even be the last one at this point. I haven't done much recently. But I've done a GeForce versus Quadro versus FirePro graphics card comparison video. And that should answer your question. But the answer is yes, it will be absolutely fine. It's a Pascal-based GTX 10 series card. And they're fine. They're absolutely fine. The 1060 is going to be overkill for Inventor. As long as you go for the 6 gig model. The 3 gig variant of the 1060 should be okay. I can't see you doing much. I mean, I don't know what you do, but most average users wouldn't be capping out 3 gig of video RAM anytime soon. But if you go for the 6 gig model, which isn't that much more expensive, you'll be sweet. You'll be absolutely sweet. So yes, the 1060 should be fine for Inventor. It's currently not on the certified card list. However, based off the last video that I did, which was the Quadro versus the GeForce video comparison, where I showed that it actually doesn't matter at all what video card you've got. And we all know at this point that GeForce cards work fine with Inventor. Off the back of that video, I can't say much at this point, but there are discussions in place within Autodesk, the Inventor team, and we're just talking about it. We're discussing the possibilities of extending support beyond just professional cards. But for now, yes, the GeForce cards will work absolutely fine. Right, question 5 comes in from Biglap. Basnet, is there any way we could download the video, something like torrent? Which video is this? The live stream video. You can go to websites like Clip Converter. If you want to download a YouTube video, you can do that. But I'm not putting my videos on any torrent sites or anything like that, obviously. I'm not about to do that. But if you want to download any of my videos, you can do. You just go to the Clip Converter website and download them. Obviously, if you do download any videos that I've done, then you can use them for your own personal, consumption, but nobody's to repackage the videos I've done and then pass them off as their own. That's obvious. I'm sure nobody wants to do that. Read. Question 6 comes in from Rossano Rossnana. How can I migrate all my projects inside the Vault? Is it possible to do that? By migrating all your projects, I don't know whether you mean migrate the files individually or migrate your files kind of from outside of Vault into Vault. Because you're saying, how can I migrate all my projects inside the Vault? That could be taken as saying I want to put stuff inside the Vault. I'm assuming you're going to mean you've got a load of data in the Vault and you want to migrate it all. My answer to you is don't. Just don't do it. It is possible, but just don't do it. It's a bad idea. I've never, in all my, at this point, 15 years of managing Vault and supporting Vault and providing support to massive customers, never ever have I ever migrated a Vault internally. I mean, I migrated Vaults from like Vault 2013 to Vault 2015 to Vault 2017. But I do not migrate the data inside it. The data inside the Vault stays at the CAD platform that it was generated within, or it was last saved at. And the reason for that is quite simple. There's a couple of reasons. The first one is just the logistics of doing it is a nightmare. Some Vaults now, because time goes on, Vaults get bigger and bigger every year. Some Vaults, you've got now millions of files in there. The file store is upwards of 1 terabyte in size. If you need to migrate the data in the Vault, you're essentially doing a save on every single file, which generates a new version in the file store of the Vault for every single file in the Vault. So if you've got 1 million files and you need to create a new version for 1 million files, your Vault's now got 2 million files in there. And that's double the size. Not really 1-to-1 double the size, but you've got double the files, which is going to cause a massive, massive increase in the size of the vault. And if you're doing that every single year, your vault's going to be become unmanageable pretty quickly. The second reason why I don't do it is the technicalities of pulling out everything, because you can't migrate it in the vault. The files have to come out of vault and then be saved and then put back into vault. And I do not personally trust an automated process to do that correctly. It might work fine. I personally don't trust them, especially when you've got release management on the files. Files are locked, files are released, files haven't been opened in 10 years, and you're going to just migrate them automatically using an automated process. We're just going to check them out. Checking them out means they're going to essentially be opened, saved, and when they're opened and saved, how do you know they're going to not fall apart? Missing files, that kind of stuff. Yes, there's safety mechanisms which stop missing. And I know, it's not worth the hassle. It's not worth the hassle. Just what I do is tell people that when I've upgraded their vault and their CAD system, I say, you just open files and save them. They'll migrate on the fly. You'll migrate them as you work on them. Anything that you're not working on will stay at that version. And that's fine, because if you're not going to use it, then you don't need to migrate it. And if you do need to use it, you'll migrate it yourself, just passively by hitting save. So we're all fine. And then vaults remain at a manageable size. So don't migrate your data inside the vault. It's a stupid idea. Right, question 7 comes in from Mahmoud LCC. Dear sir, oh my God, you're a polite bunch today, you lot. I want to begin with you for Inventor and learn more. Which lesson can start with this course? Which video is this on? This is on the textures video. Right, I'm assuming Mahmoud has seen the video and he wants to kind of maybe start from scratch on Inventor. The best video from me for that would be the Learn Inventor in Under an Hour video, which is one of the most popular videos that I've done. I was kind of expecting it to be. It's about a year old at this point, possibly older. But I go through a tutorial whereby I start with a single part, doing some very basic feature design, drawing circles, constraints, dimensions, extrusions, revolves, that kind of thing. So a very basic part design, but it kind of embeds the very basic essentials in your head. Then taking that through into an assembly, then through to a drawing, bit of adaptivity, that kind of stuff. And it's all done in under an hour. That's me doing it in under an hour and talking at the same time. But as a beginner, it'll take you longer than an hour. I mean, I'm not bullshitting anyone there. The video is less than an hour, but going through it yourself will take longer than an hour. But that's, for my channel, that's the best video to go for if you're at the very start. Question 8 comes in from Kevin Delaney. Read. So this is a hardware question. I was wondering if you could you want me to criticize your choice in hardware, right? Okay. When it came for me to build a workstation, I built this a few months ago. My build is as follows: i7-6900K, Christ on a bike, 8-core 16-thread, Corsair liquid cooled, overclocked 4 gig. Right, so you've got a 6900K. That's the Broadwell E chips, isn't it? I think that's the Broadwell E on the X99 platform. 8-core 16-thread. That's not the best chip for outright Inventor. For just running Inventor day-to-day, just general workflows, it's not the best chip, but it's a solid chip. It's a good Xeon competitor. Then you've got 64 gig of DDR4 RAM. Just absolutely more than enough. It's more than enough. I mean, I don't think you've said what else. Oh, yeah, I've said what else you do. Right, we'll get to that bit in a bit. Right, Titan X Maxwell's 12 gig. Bracket should have gone Pascal. For Inventor, it doesn't matter. Other stuff, yeah, it's a lot of money for an old generation Titan card. MSI Pro Carbon motherboard, that's fine. EVGA Supernova 1500 watt power supply, fully modular. That'll look the shit, but it's overkill. 1500 watts. You're probably not even using half of that, even with Titan and 64 gig of RAM. 2 Asus 28-inch 4K screens. Sounds legit. 4K is a bit nasty for CAD, but I'm sure you can nerf it down to 1920 by 1080 if you need to run something and you don't need the UI to explode. Then that should be fine. But your Titan will be more than capable of pushing out 2 4K screens absolutely perfectly. A few Samsung SSD A50 Pros, 2 terabyte. Jesus Christ, this must have cost a fortune. So a couple of Samsung SSDs, 3D connection CAD mouse. You've got the Vive. Plans are to run dual Titan X Pascals and 2 big or 4 smaller 4K screens and overclock to 4.2. You're an electrical engineering and computer science student with interests in 3D printing, augmented reality, virtual reality, CAD programming, robotics, and industrial automation. Did I overdo it? Well, no, not really. Not really. This is the thing. If you can afford that, which clearly you can because you've bought it, then no, you've not ever done it. Because especially with VR, if you're wanting to run, if you're wanting a good VR experience and you want to get the most out of VR, then you need this. You need this. I've got a 1070 and a 4790K, and I can't run VR at any decent level past kind of medium settings without experiencing visual glitches, visual stuttering and juttering. So if you're wanting VR, mate, then that's a spot on build. For anything CAD related, it's overkill, complete and utter overkill. For something like SolidWorks, hang on a minute, have you gone on? My family thinks I'm insane. It's worth noting I have at least a quarter of Autodesk software, including Inventor, HSM Pro, Dassault, CATIA, Siemens on this already, and I use my media server at times as well as my NAS, and I can control it through remote desktop. To access my CAD files in my precision machining course, is this a setup that will able to last me years? Still Broadwell architecture. It will last you years, yeah. The 6900K is going to be a solid chip for a long time. 64 gig of RAM is going to be more than enough for a long time. Your Titan X's, even though the Pascal Titans are out now, the Titan X Maxwell is still an amazing card. It'd be better than what most people have got at this point. If you want to run VR though, the chances are you're going to probably need a couple of them. You're going to need them in SLI, but it's not worth buying another one. Go for, if you want the best of the best and you can afford it, go for the two Titan X's. However, word on the street, and I'm sure if you're buying stuff like this, then you'll have heard it as well. But the rumor is that within the next week, the 1080 Ti is going to be announced. So I would possibly be looking at those. Rather than go dual Titan X's, I'd go either a single 1080 Ti or one Pascal Titan. But I would imagine two 1080 Ti. In fact, I know two 1080 Ti's will be better than one Pascal Titan. Whatever you can afford, mate. Whatever you can afford. But those 1080 Ti's are going to be juicy. They're going to be really nice. So no, I'd say your system's fine, mate. I'd say that is a solid system. It's overkill for Inventor. Autodesk Inventor can't use half the stuff on there. Autodesk Inventor will not be able to use your 8 cores. It won't even be able to use half of them. It'll use them in short bursts, but anything beyond that, it's just single threaded most of the time. And you're running at a reasonable speed. You're running at 4.2. You've overclocked it to 4.2, or your plan is to overclock it to 4.2. You might be running it at 4 now, which is fine. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. So yes, that is a solid build. That'll keep you going for a long time, and you've got a much better system than most people out there. That's pretty safe to say. Right, question 9 comes in from Ariel though. I'm having trouble with this tool, Loft. Right, so this is on the lofting video that I've done. Wondering if you can help. I can select 2 sketches, but the OK click button is disabled. Right, so I've put this question in just to kind of highlight the point of please do not ask me time-sensitive questions. This Ariel, I mean, I do appreciate and I'm flattered that you've asked me for some help, but what's happened here is you've been using Inventor, you're using it right then and there. You're clicking buttons, you're trying to get a job done, you've hit a stop, and then you're asking me over the YouTube comments on how to proceed next. I can't answer you in a reasonable time frame. Go to the Autodesk forums. The link is in the description in every single video I've ever done. The link to the Inventor forum is in every single video I've ever done. And then ask your question there. So I don't know. There is no way I can answer questions like this without seeing what you're doing, and I can't do that. Okay, question 10 comes in from Folkhack. Why is the music so hard that you can't hear the voice? It's terrible. Which video is this on? How to frame generator. Right. I've included this for a good reason. I'm sick to the back teeth of people bitching about my old videos, 2 years old videos, and the music being too loud. The music's not loud, mate. My music is not too loud. It's horrible. It was a bad choice. I know that. That's why I stopped using it 2 years ago. None of my recent videos, which I'm doing tutorials, have music in. Not a single one. But the music is not too loud. It's not terrible, mate. Your speakers are terrible. Allow me to demonstrate. Right. This is the video, right? Just saying, this is the video that you're whinging about, where the music is so loud that you can't hear me. If you're not familiar with what these are, please let me know, and I'll create a video which explains what these bomb structures are, because it's fully constrained, so that'll do me. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is extrude this up to create this. Don't know about you, but I can hear me very clearly. 250 in depth on both these profiles here. Both symmetrical. Okay. So that's essentially what's modeled around. The whole point of this is... You see what I mean? Right. So I'm kind of at breaking point with people whinging about the music of the videos. It was a bad idea. There was a reason for it. I put it in there to make the videos a little bit more lively, a little bit more perky, because other tutorials at the time were just silence or monotone American. So the music was there to kind of give things a bit of atmosphere. So I'm sick of people bitching about it. I can hear me perfectly. If you can't hear me, your speakers are shit, not my videos. Last question. Last questions come right. This came in as I was compiling the video, all the questions and getting ready to, planning and prepping this video. And this came in over my email, right? I know I'm being negative here. But I'm kind of in one of those moods. This came in through the YouTube business inquiry button. Please, and I'm trying to be as polite as possible, please do not ask for technical support through the YouTube business email inquiry button. It's not what it's there for. The contact me button on the YouTube about page is not to ask for free technical support. So this question's come in via that avenue. My name is Blank from Malaysia. I'm new to Autodesk Inventor. May I get your contact number so that I can directly contact you via WhatsApp if I have a problem regarding Inventor? I have a lot to learn and I wish to get someone who can teach me. Thanks. Hope to hear from you soon. It's a pretty safe bet, mate. You're not going to hear from me soon. I respect, I'm completely flattered. I genuinely am flattered that people are looking at my videos and going, this guy can help me. And that's what I'm doing by giving you guys videos and tutorials and just free content. I am not a free tutor, though. I can't tutor every single person that comes to the channel. I'm kind of hoping that my audience is pretty intelligent enough to realise that. If you look at the stats of any video, even of the videos that have got 1,000 views, up to the videos that have got nearly, 150,000 views. I think one of them is well over 120,000 views at this point, the 3D sketching video. Can you imagine if every single one of those 120,000 people asked me for my contact number so they could get in touch with me over WhatsApp? Please. I mean, you know what I mean. I'm not being unreasonable here. I can't do that. So no, mate, you can't have my contact number. But you can watch my videos. They're free. You can get subscribed. You can, if you've got any questions, as I always say, if you need help, go to the Autodesk forums and log your question on the Autodesk forums, and I will respond to them if I've got time. If I've got time, I go to the forums and I try to answer as many questions as I can. But if I can't, there's people on the Autodesk forums that are much, much, much better equipped at answering some questions than I am. So go and ask the questions over there. Right, last question. This is the last one. I've just put this in for shits and gigs. From Ivan Lopez. I love your way of commenting. What part of the UK are you from? Your accent is delightful. I'm from the northeast of England, mate. From the northeast of United Kingdom of Brexitshire. Up near Scotland. As far up as you can get before you get to Scotland. That's where I'm from. My accent's kind of diluted because I work in... Well, I'm on YouTube, so I'm having to try and dilute my accent down a little bit because natively my accent is pretty difficult to understand. A hardcore person from this region who's like very, very, very broad with this accent is almost impossible to understand. So my accent's quite diluted, and it has been over the years because I've worked in Autodesk reseller, going all around the country, talking to customers from the Scotland, from the south, from Wales, from wherever, and you have to talk properly. Not like, yeah, man, what you doing? Yeah, aye, man, yeah, this Inventor, it's proper good, eh? What, you want some CAD standards? Aye. I can't talk like that. I've got to try and tone it down and pronounce words properly. It does help when you need people to understand what you're talking about. Right, I'm going to knock it on the head there. I've got another couple of videos that I'm working on today. So I'm going to get on with those, and I'm just going to I have to edit a couple of bits out of this one before I push it up onto the YouTubes. But thanks very much, guys. As always, like if you liked. If you don't, hit dislike. That's fine with me. That's what I think of iPads. I'm sure it still works just fine. And then subscribe if you're not subscribed already and all that shit. And look out for the Ryzen video coming next week. That's going to be beasting. I'm excited for that one, and I'll see you in the next one. Toodles!